All right. Key. I think we're live.
All right, great. So welcome everyone who's watching now or afterwards. What we wanted to do today was just have a little bit of a chat, an informal chat about sleep and stress. It's one of those topics that at the moment a lot of people are presenting to the clinic and having issues with insomnia and sleep-related issues. And yeah, we just wanted to give you guys a few tips and tricks and things that you might be able to do to help with getting a better night's rest and sleep.
Yeah, I think that with the lockdown as well, people are a bit without routine. There's not a lot of reasons to get out of bed. There's not a lot of reasons to go to bed early. People are feeling a bit, without motivation. And of course, the first things that is sleep under our radar when we're feeling like that, it's sleep. So we end up, spending long hours awake, very little hours sleeping. Sometimes we sleep in too much. So so we're going to talk about sleep today.
And it can all start just with one poor night of sleep or one poor night of sleep hygiene that creates this sort of feedback loop that starts to occur. So I often say to people, we found that your circadian rhythm is out, you're not on the right time zone. And people say, well, how's that possible that I have some sort of form of a jet lag and haven't even traveled? And it only takes one night of having a really late night or waking up repeatedly in the night or waking up really early, and all of a sudden your body clocks out. And then you feel that real exhaustion that you may have experienced prior to traveling overseas or into a different time zone where you just cannot get going for the day, and often it can come back to your body clock being out. So it all starts with that, is setting the appropriate time for you guys to go to sleep at night time, and make sure that it's not too late. And it does vary from each person to another. And I think some people, are better suited to go to bed earlier, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and some other people, they can go to bed a bit later. But generally, I would say most people need to be in bed by about
before
9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah. According to Ayurveda, just while people are coming in and saying hello, just letting you guys know that this is a series that we're doing for the lockdowns while our clinic is in New South Wales. We live in Queensland, and it's all this mess, and we've been feeling that the people are really stressed, so we want to support all our patients through this and our friends as well. So that's what this is about. And now coming back to Ayurveda, according to Ayurveda, once we don't sleep after 10, we actually getting to our Vata time, 10 o'clock at night. And then that's when our mind starts to get really busy, and that's when our body starts to get really agitated, and that's not ideal. So the ideal is we go to bed in Kapha time, that is before 10 o'clock at night.
And the most restorative hours of sleep over the 24-hour period is actually between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So they're the really important hours where we go into that deep level of sleep and have that really restorative sleep, which helps to regenerate all our organs. And if we can set ourselves up with good sleep, go to bed at the right time, that's a good starting point.
Yeah. So there's a few things that we can do for that to happen. One of the things that Andrew and I have been doing some research and seeing what is, and it's all pretty obvious, you guys have heard that before. So prepare the bedroom. So we start with talking about the bedroom. So television on the bedroom, big no.
Not a good one.
No. The ideal is that the bedroom is really dark.
Absolutely. So you want to make sure that if there's any light that's entering the room, that you try and best shut that down. So whether it's light from outside, so making sure, with your curtains and your blinds, that you're making sure those little cracks and crevices are closed off somehow. So if it's using blue tack, tape of some kind, just to make sure that you're not allowing that light to enter the room, particularly in the early hours of the morning, so that doesn't stimulate the brain.
At night, because we all live in cities, except if you're blessed to be living in a property. At night time is good to, we have the light from the street, so it's good to have that blocked out.
Yeah, and also that also comes back to smoke alarms and these sorts of lights as well that you might have on from other digital equipment, making sure that those little green and red lights aren't sort of blinking through the night or staying on, so you can tape them up. Just to make sure that those lights aren't bothering you, even though it might not be something that you notice obviously. These little cues and stimulus can have an effect as well. So yeah, that's another little thing that you can do as well, which is helpful.
Yeah. So what the light does, it stops you. It makes you awake. So can you explain more why you need to block out the light?
It triggers an area of the brain that stimulates affects the melatonin. So it actually gets your body prepared and ready to wake up when you have that light that actually hits your brain and hits your face as well. So and even penetrate within the eyes. So that's something that's really important.
One of the things that I read, I cannot remember where, is that our skin it's also absorbs light. So it also has sense light, which is so interesting. So it's not only through the eyes that we sense light, but also through our skin, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
the vitamin D that we absorb from the sun. So
yeah, and the melatonin, how do you call it? Melanin? That it's part of. That's what absorbs is the light. So yeah, so that's a big one. We talking about light still. That comes to computers and being on the phone before sleep.
Yep.
And TV just before you go to bed. So what do you think of that?
Well, I think nowadays a lot of people with their mobile phones, they take it into the bedroom with them. They use it in their bed. They also use it as their alarm for waking up, which is a really common one. So people will just leave it. I've had patients who leave it under their pillow to make sure that they wake up, or on the bedside table.
Getting all the radiation from the mobile phone in your head. Not good.
Certainly something that shows up often a lot of the time is that people have too much electrical devices close to their bedside. So I would encourage you, if it's possible, to definitely take those things out of the bedroom. But if that's unavoidable, then it's certainly something you want to switch all of those devices, tablets, phones, to airplane mode. And just using it purely as an alarm device. Ideally, using an alarm clock would be better. But if you can leave those things well away from the bedroom, and that also helps to support you using your bedroom as a real, refuge for sleep alone, and dedicating the bedroom not for stimulating your mind with games and things of that nature late at night, or doing work in your bedroom.
So how many hours or how many minutes before you go to bed you should turn off your phone?
So ideally,
or your computer,
it's best if possible to have those devices switched off or away from you after 7 o'clock. But if that's not feasible, then at least you want to do that 1 to 2 hours before, or 1.5 hours before going to bed.
Yeah, right. So guys, no phone.
No phones.
No phone before bed. No.
And we've all been victims of doing that.
Yeah, so. No computer, no working until late. Even though we are on lockdown, or if you're not, it's the new world, the modern world. Let's turn off our phones before bed. That will help with sleep. So for you guys that are arriving, this is Dr. Andrew, this is Flavia, and we're talking about sleep and just giving support to all of you in these difficult moments that we're passing through here in Australia. So welcome. So we talked about darkness in our bedroom, and talk about the mobile phone, the blue light that is so well known. And now we're going to talk about sounds. noise. So what do we do? At nighttime, the idea is to put your noise down. So turn off your TV, maybe a light music. Here in our house, we normally listen to mantras or classical music.
Yeah, or just even some meditative music, which you could get and play off YouTube or Spotify, just to sort of set the mood and the tone for restfulness. And
we also turn down the lights of our house. So from 5 o'clock onwards, because we have a little child that goes to bed at 6:30, we turn it down, all the lights. We have just a few lights on, and they are strategically yellow. So they'll be more that warm kind of light. Yeah. And we put some calm music, not very loud, just that background music. And just, sometimes we put some aromatherapy there, some lavender oil, sweet orange oil, geranium oil. They all good for relaxing. And just starts to create that environment. And we always done that since our son born, because we noticed the big difference in his nervous system and how much he is more open to relax and don't get so agitated, so for us does the same. So that's what we do.
And just switch you on into that parasympathetic nervous system, so get you into that rest and digest side of your nervous system and calm it down from the day's events where you've maybe been rushing around and had a busy mind all day, and take you out of that sympathetic dominance where you're really on the go. Potentially you've been in fight-flight mode through part of the day. So it's really a way to change that over into that calming, resting time, and get your body, ready for digesting your dinner and get you ready for sleep, and get those organs prepared for the night ahead.
Absolutely. So the other thing is during the night, the idea is to be in a silent space, be in a silent space.
Yep.
If you cannot do that, there's a few things that can help you. One is earplugs. And if you cannot deal with earplugs, if you're like me, I don't like earplugs, I don't like that masks. The white noise, if you're in a really busy road. When we were in New York many, many years ago, we couldn't sleep because of the noise. It was amazing. Like, I never seen a city that crazy. And we actually used earplugs and white noise to see if we could go to bed. Didn't work because had ambulances coming in the middle of the night and police and taxi drivers yelling and horning the whole night. But, it's two things that you can do if you live in a busy road. It might help. Another thing that comes to mind is the circadian rhythm, is that our body has a rhythm, and who dictates that rhythm? It's you with your times of going to bed and waking up. So the idea is to go to bed at the same time every day and waking up at the same time every day.
Yeah, just having that consistency. And so our body, the organs of our body actually become accustomed to those routines that we have, those daily routines. So by doing that, if you're setting your time and your goal for going to bed at 9:30 at night and doing that consistency, your body gets into that routine, it gets into that habit, and you get into that habit as well. So that's encouraging a healthy habit where, sleep is of paramount importance to health, and it's one of the gold standard indicators for health as well. So, and ensuring that you wake up feeling refreshed and ready for a new day. So, some other things that we wanted to give you as tips for that, guys, was a couple of exercises. So the first exercises I wanted to share with you was when you're in bed and you're getting ready to turn the light off and sleep, what you can do is just gently rub the bones at the back of your ears. They're your mastoid bones. So just here at the base of the skull behind your ear. And you just want to rub those areas behind your ears really gently for about 10 to 15 seconds. And that should just set up your body for sleeping. And helping with the wakefulness as well in the morning.
Let's not do too much, otherwise we'll be...
So if you don't feel any sleepiness sort of being induced from that after 10 to 15 seconds, just stop. That's fine. It's just another potential technique that could help you.
We also talked that if you don't feel sleepy after 90 seconds, it's stop rubbing, and they recommend you to get out of the bed and do something calming for the body and the mind. So there's a few things that can be done. So things that Andrew and I do before we go to bed, we do our heart coherence breathing technique, easily found on the heartmath.com. I think it is the heartmath.com. So you can actually have a look and look at coherence, heart-brain coherence breathing techniques. That helps us a lot to get more calm and soothing. So that's what we do before we go to bed. We make sure that if our mind is too busy, we do meditation. And another thing that I do, I have a book next to my bed that I just dump my thoughts. So if there's anything bothering me at that night, I don't judge my thoughts, I just dump them in a book. So I just go and write it down, everything that's bothering me, lockdown, everything. So at the moment, like everyone else, we are concerned about our jobs, our kids, our freedom, and all these sort of things. I just write it down there and let it go and leave it in that paper. And then straight after, I start to breathe and connect to my heart, put my hand on my heart and inhale and exhale. Andrew can talk a bit more about the heart coherence breathing technique that we learned. And that's a great thing to do, or meditation. And they even say stretching or sexual intimacy. Let some energy burn.
So Flavia wanted me to elaborate a little bit on the heart coherence. I won't talk too much about it, but essentially what it is, it's a way of connecting your heart rhythm to your brain and vice versa. And what you're really trying to achieve there is you're trying to regulate your autonomic nervous system. And that comes back to those nervous systems I said earlier, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, where you're actually trying to get control over your nervous system. So taking it from that being an unconscious thing to actually consciously having control over that. And we can do that purely through our breath, all right? And so if you do a little bit of research and you go and check out the HeartMath website, you'll find some fantastic information there, and they have some great YouTube videos as well, the founders of that technique. And also they would have some exercises for breathing on their website. So I definitely encourage you to do that. And certainly since Flavia and I have been doing that consistently every night before bed, I feel like it helps to prepare our brain to go into those deeper levels of sleep. And sleep with better quality and wake up more refreshed and feeling as well more calm and peaceful as well. Because and we'll probably have another live about the HeartMath coherence at some point and breathing. Yeah. But with that, we can also there's devices that they have where you can actually measure your heart rate variability, which is the gold standard for measuring your autonomic nervous system, which is really interesting. So
thank you, Janelle. Thank you, Marcus.
So the other thing that we wanted to talk about as another technique for sleep was it's a technique that we use in the clinic there, which helps to recalibrate a person's body clock.
And that's in the morning.
And it's something that you can do yourself. So
let's just explain a bit more about the rising. So when we waking up, as good as it is sleep for 8 hours, there's research that shows that if we sleep for more than 8 hours a day, about more than 8.5 hours a night, so let's say that you're sleeping 10 to 12 hours, that can show signs of depression, can be one of the signs of depression, but also it diminishes your metabolism in your body, so your body starts to get a bit slower and you can put weight. So there's a lot of research around the right amount of sleep and they say that it's between 7 hours and 45 minutes and 8 hours and 15 minutes. We believe that this changes from person to person. But however, it is important that we don't sleep in. So as there's people who sleep less in these difficult situations, there's people who likes to sleep more and sleep the whole day off, which is not great as well. So so this technique that Andrew is going to teach, it helps your body to create that energy back and regulate the energy to keep waking up with more stamina.
And if you look at your body as a biocomputer, it's, I guess, a way of reprogramming your body clock and setting it up to be at the correct point in the circadian rhythm. All right. And so I'm just going to demonstrate this on Flavia, but you can actually just do this
on yourself
or on your child or baby as well.
So if you see that your baby is waking up in the middle of the night a lot, or you've been waking up a lot, within all these things that we talked today, this is a great thing to put your body back into rhythm, especially with kids and babies, because they respond so fast to everything.
Really quick.
Yeah.
So the way you do it, you get on the left-hand side of the body and underneath the armpit, so between the armpit and the bottom of the rib cage, you're going to come to the midway point. So you find that midway point there, directly in center with the armpit itself, and you're going to rub that point. All right.
So he's not doing anything with my arm.
No,
he's just holding.
So you're going to rub that point for about 20 seconds. It's a spleen meridian point in Chinese medicine, spleen 21. So you'll rub that point.
Yeah.
And then once you've done that, then you get onto the person's ears, or you get onto your own ears or your baby's ears, and you're going to start rubbing the ear from the earlobe at the bottom of the ear, and you're going to almost unfold the edge of the ear from the bottom all the way up to the top of the ear, and then go back down again to the bottom of the ear. And you're going to do it on both sides, both ears, all right, simultaneously, like so.
For people who just arrived, this is a technique to put your circadian rhythm back into place. So for sleep problems. So rub, can you show it again?
So I'll just show that again. So you'll go to the bottom of the rib cage and to the armpit, and in line with the armpit, you'll come to the midpoint, and that is spleen 21 point. And you're going to rub that point for about 20 seconds on yourself, on your baby, on your partner. And this is first thing in the morning you do this. And once you've done that for 20 seconds, you're going to then rub the ears.
And you can do both ears.
Both ears at the same time, from the bottom of the ear, the earlobe, and you're going to unfold the ear and slowly go all the way up to the top of the ear. And then you're going to come back down the ear to the bottom. Up and down once. And you can do that every morning, or particularly if you wake up in the morning and you're feeling a bit tired. That can be a way just to get your body clock stimulated and reprogram it for the day to set up for the following night's sleep.
So on top of that, what else?
So
the obvious, né? The obvious things like
what's obvious?
No coffee after 7 p.m. No sugar, no coffee.
All the stimulants you want to avoid, obviously. Those things are going to really rev up your sympathetic nervous system, which is like, not what we want to do, the absolute opposite of that. So you want to do things that are actually going to be sedative. They're going to slow you down. They're going to make you feel calm, so you can have, you're the tea person. So what sort of teas would you suggest?
I suggest chamomile tea. It's great for nervous system. If you have passion flower tea, it's great. Lavender tea, it's a bit bitter. I personally like licorice, so I mix all that with licorice, and it's a good way of calm down and sleep. And
licorice is a good one too, because it helps with blood sugar metabolism, which will help your liver throughout the night when it's at its most active, between 1 o'clock and 3 a.m. And that's why a lot of people do wake up in those hours of the morning because of the liver and other concerns and issues with the liver.
So the liver has some emotions as well.
Yes.
So the liver has emotions of anger. What else?
So the main emotion of the liver is anger, and then all the subsidiary emotions of anger, which includes frustration, aggression, aggression, anger, resentment is another one of liver, gallbladder, depression.
So if you're waking up at 2 a.m., around 2 a.m., you know that there's some emotions that can be coming up, and you just detoxing that, or you ate too many Cocoa Pops, and then that can affect your liver before sleeping. So it's a good idea to avoid all these stimulants and have a good night of sleep.
Yeah, and so back to the licorice. That's another sweet tasting herb as well, so it'll satisfy that real satiety for sweetness that you might have it late at night after dinner. So you'll get multiple benefits by having something like that. Or fennel's another good one as well.
Yeah, fennel.
It's quite sweet.
Fennel is digestive as well, so it's good that
without you sort of launching to go and grab a Kit Kat or something like that instead. All right. So super important to avoid those stimulants.
So we find as well that avoid some medications. Of course, that's something you need to talk to your doctor, but keep aware of what you take before go to bed that makes you awake. Take a bit of control of your health and start to notice your body according to what you think, what you put in your mouth, and your space around you. So for me, it took me many years to realize that I'm very sensitive to noise. For me, noise, it affects me. So nowadays, as I said, I put some sort of music before dinner at nighttime, but get to a time where I turn it off and we just have silence in the house, because that's what I need to have a good night of sleep. So it starts to notice what makes you have a good night of sleep. And what I mean with good night of sleep is waking up energetically, fine, waking up with energy, I mean. wake up with energy and wake up more like you restful, like you had a good sleep and refreshed.
Not feeling tired. Not feeling tired like you've had no sleep whatsoever. Because you want to be bouncing out of bed, and it all starts the night before. So, by you starting to adopt some of these ideas and advice and tips, and even just a couple of them, could be really helpful for you guys.
So also avoiding arguments. You don't want to fight with your partner before go to bed. Avoiding aggressive physical activity, something that is very strenuous just before bed is not a good idea. However, we do recommend having a very intense physical activity during the day. That will help you to sleep better. And avoiding TV and computer, and do the dump of your mind. Everything that is in your head, put it down in the paper and make a deal with yourself and say, okay, now I wrote all the things that is bothering me. From now on, I'm going to sleep and concentrate on, rest and have a peaceful night.
And that can be something you can also do as well if you wake up in the middle of the night and you've got a busy mind, you've got a busy head, and you just need to release those thoughts. Then go and write it down, and then just think to yourself, there's nothing more I can do right now. I'm just going to focus on a good night's sleep, and then whatever things I have to face in the morning, I'll do that. Something I always did a lot during my university days when I had lots of exams, big assignments due during my chiropractic degree, and there's certainly high levels of stress at that time, and so I would just focus on the night's sleep, because I knew if I would get a good night's sleep, then I would wake up and I would have more energy to study the next day or prepare for an exam. So rather than worrying about those things, focus on your sleep and just then worry about dealing with that in the morning.
Absolutely.
Forget about because there's nothing you can do at night time about that. Then you can act and work on it the next day.
Next day.
Focus on your sleep.
Yeah. And then sun and exercise, guys. During the day, go out in the sun. We're lucky that where we live here, Queensland and, New South Wales, We have the border, Queensland, New South Wales. We have a lot of sun. That's something that is always there. And the other day, who reminded us of that was my son. He sat down with me, and I was stressed, and he just sat down and grabbed my hand, and he started to do a circle and saying, "Oh, Mom, this is the sun, and he's always there for you. Just remember this." And I was like, okay, who taught you that? That worked, because just the fact that I remember that in the morning there's the sun and he's always there for us, and the sun gives us energy, gives us vitamin D, and that's a great way of meditating and of receiving everything that you need to have a good night's of sleep. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. So I think that within these times, guys, what we want to pass to you that it's really important is don't let your health escape through your fingers because of stressful moments. You know, keep up with your that email that we sent the other day, with your water intake, with your exercise, with your sleep, because independent of what happened in your life, your health is your biggest asset. And even if your health at the moment is not that great and you're passing through difficulties, to problems, just if you keep the basics on top of the basics, and my coach calls them non-negotiables, you can actually increase the chances of being better. And mental health is completely connected to how we look after our body. So for us that is passing through these times, just keep up with these little things that you can control. Keep up with your sugar intake, with your water intake, with your veggies intake, you know, diminish your sugar intake and your sleep. All these things matters now.
And all these things are in your control. You know, there's so much stress for people at the moment because, you know, there seems to be so many variables in their life that's out of their control. So this is a way to really re-empower yourself and take control of your life and your health right now. And a lot of us have more time to actually devote to that rather than, you know, rushing around and living the busy week and the busy lifestyles that we, you know, typically lead. Now's a good time to sort of take stock and actually take more time to actually take care of yourself. And so this is really a series where we're starting now of, you know, showing you guys how to take better self-care and manage yourself more appropriately and, you know, really get your health back on track and get it to a whole new level too, potentially. So this is the first of several lives that we intend to do going forward at the moment. And we will, you know, make a post shortly in the next few days as to when we'll do another live and what topic we'll choose as well. Really, thank you all for listening in and watching. Please leave any comments or feedback from today so we can help to
if there's anything that you want us to talk about it.
Yeah, if there's another topic, because, you know, between myself as a chiropractic kinesiologist and Flavia as a pharmacist, aromatherapist, Reiki healer, yoga teacher, everything else she does,
Mom.
We do have a lot of information that we've never really put out there, and you know, there's probably topics that you'll, you know, provide us with that we don't know a lot about, but there'll probably be a lot of topics that we do know a lot about. And so we'd really like to share as much knowledge and information to empower you guys and allow you to have a healthier life. So,
so thank you guys. Thank you for today.
Thank you all for watching.
And keep well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.